Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Auction for the Soul. This week's parsha is Parshat Vayera. And last week's parsha ended with Avraham taking the idea of Brit Milah to heart and practicing his Brit Milah. Does the circumcision on his own, and he ends up waiting around, going through the process of the pain and waiting to heal so he could get back out there and want to do chesed. But that's not exactly how it unfolds. Vayera elav Hashem. Hashem appears to Avraham ba'alone Mamre, in the fields of Mamre. Why is he in the fields of Mamre? Because Mamre is the one that said, be public about it. Don't hide the fact that you're going to do Milah. Let everyone know. Be proud about your identity, especially today, 2025 in November, after the elections in New York. People are questioning whether or not they should wear their kippah, outward, expressions of Jewish identity. If you're really afraid about wearing your Jewish identity in the city you're living in, then you got to move out. But in order for you to be a proud Jew, I say it's not dangerous yet. Be proud of your identity like Avraham was. People prefer it when you are honest about what you truly believe in. He comes to the plains of Mamre. Avraham is sitting petach ohel kechom hayom, in the heat of the day. And the Chachamim point out that he's looking out there with his binoculars, trying to find someone to do chesed with, but no one's there. As a matter of fact, the Midrash gives a backstory that this is on day 3. Okay, so on day 1, 2, he sends out Eliezer, and Eliezer comes back with nothing. No guests for Avraham, and all Avraham so desperately wants just to go ahead and do some chesed, but he can't find anybody. So on day 3, he says, you know what, I'm going out myself. So now, let's pause for a second. His trusted right-hand man, he does not believe. And now, why not? And I think what Avraham realizes on day 3 is that Eliezer doesn't want to find anybody. You're not going to find guests if you don't really want to find your guests. And the reason why Eliezer did not want to find guests is because he didn't want to trouble his master. He wanted him to just rest, relax. We've seen that, Mom, Dad, sit down, relax. Well, do it. Don't get up. And that was Eliezer's position. So Avraham realized that Eliezer did not have the schut of finding guests. So he gets up and he goes out, and boom, Hashem sends him these 3 wayfarers. Vayera, Visa enav, and Avraham lifts up his eyes. Vayera, vehine shlosha anashim nitzavim elav. There are 3 men who are standing, they're coming his way. Vayera, veyeratz likratam. He sees them, and he runs after them. Mipetach ohel, from the entrance of his tent. Vishtachavu arza, bows down to them and says, he says, come, be my guest. Don't pass without stopping and let me take care of you guys a little bit. Let me do some chesed. This is his work. He was an outreach worker. He wanted to share with the world this idea of chesed. Now, it's hard to understand this in 2025. And unfortunately, I don't know if it'll be so difficult for my grandchildren to understand it, but we grew up in a world where there was a value in doing kindness, a value in giving aid and charity and volunteerism. In the world of Avraham, that was not a value. That was a sign of weakness. You see this, by the way, expressed by the end of the parsha with Sodom wanting to be destroyed. Sodom was a culture where the Sodomites would sodomize you. The Sodomites did not believe in any aid, charity, and volunteerism. If you did not have the ability to fend for yourself and provide for yourself, you were considered a worthless piece of whatever, and you were no value to society. So they were punished. Those people were punished by being ignored. They died. You died just because you were weak, and we don't want weakness. We only want strength. This was the world that Avraham came from, and he wanted to change it. No, we are all created b'tselem Elokim. We all see how each of us has value, and therefore we have a responsibility as humanity to provide and care for each other always. And that's not the world that he lives in. So he goes out, and he desperately wants to do chesed. The Gemara says, in the pathway that a man wants to go, Hashem helps him get there. So he wants these guests in the middle of his nevuah, in the middle of his prophecy, in the middle of him talking to God. He says, hold on, I'm going out there, I got to do chesed. Because more important than talking to God is being like God. That's a powerful line. More important than pretending to be externally Jewish, more importantly, be internally and living the things that you really believe in. So, he goes out, he does all these things, he gives them achila, shtiya, and levaya. These are the 3 ideas that, when you're providing guests food and shelter in your home, you have to provide them with food, drink, and levaya. not like going to a levaya, but levaya literally means walking someone out. When you're at a levaya, you're walking someone down from the funeral home to the cemetery and burying and so on and so forth. That's what levaya is, walking someone away, saying your farewell to them. So Avraham does these three things. This is Eshel, the Eshel Avraham, Aleph Shin Lamed. They say, by the way, when you don't do the levaya, you just do achila and shtiyah, you're left with only esh, and this is why people have fires in their home. The Kabbalistic idea is that when you have guests in your home, which is a beautiful mitzvah, it's not enough to feed them and drink them, but it's also a mitzvah to walk them out of your home. Take them out, that's part of the mitzvah itself. This way you have the eshel itself, and not the just the esh, the aleph, and the shin. All right, anyway, so my question goes like this. There's two things. One is there's a midrash that says that Hashem speaks to Eov. It says, Eov, he's like, your chesed was nothing like Avram's chesed. Eov, you waited in your little, like foyer, and you brought people the food they needed. So if they were used to eating meat, they ate meat. If they were used to eating like vegetarian, vegan. But Avraham was not like that. Avraham would go out and he would give everyone the highest standard of food. Because for Avraham, his need to give was coming from a different angle. Be mindful of that. So the Midrash says that as a result of Avraham doing these three mitzvot, achila, shtiyah, and levaya, right? Later on, his descendants would merit in three miracles that would take place. That is the man for achila, shtiyah, which is the Ber Miriam, and lastly, the cloud of glory, the cloud during the day, which protected from the sun and moved with them, and the fire at night was all in the merit of Abraham's achila, shtiyah, and levaya, also from Sarah, who had the cloud at her house, who also had the food that lasted from week to week, and the fire, and so on and so forth. So these were special, unique, miraculous things that these people brought into the world because of their deep desire to want to give. Now, the Midrash says that the reason why Avraham merited these things because he gave these three wayfarers food, drink, and walked them out. My question is, well, I don't understand. Avram's been doing chesed for like he's 100 years old. He just got his Brit Milah, right? We know at the end of the parsha he's going to find out about the news, actually soon. He's going to find out about the news about Sarah becoming pregnant, right? But he's been doing chesed for decades, okay? Certainly for decades. Why is it that this particular act of kindness is the one that merits him with these three beautiful miracles for his descendants later? Fair question. The answer I saw goes like this. We know that each of us has a psychological need to give. I often say that, if you have to choose between getting a donation from a doctor and a banker, just be mindful that bankers are always better donors because doctors are always in a place of giving. They always feel like they're helping people. When you're always helping people, you can't be as generous with your money as you are when you're someone who's disconnected from humanity and all he wants that money is to help him feel a connection to humanity. But anyway, so you have this concept where you see someone who's in need, you want to support them. You want them to be provided for. And unfortunately, that's coming from a place of empathy, which is not bad. I say unfortunately, there's something profound about giving someone what they need. But that's not where Abraham's chesed was coming from. Abraham wasn't doing chesed because of a psychological need. He wasn't doing chesed because of dveikut, because he was having dveikut. Vayera Hashem, he comes to him in these plains and he's talking to him, right? And he pauses that. It's not even coming from a place of dveikut. It's coming from a deeper place of doing chesed. Avraham wants to be like God. He understands that God creates a world, the whole act of creation itself. The question, why did God create the world? You know what the answer is? Because he wants to do chesed. Of course, God does not want to do anything, but he creates this thing called chesed. And that is the power and the impetus of what fuels creation, a massive, expansive project of infinite abundance. Think about it. Our universe has everything you could possibly imagine. There are oceans of water that are greater than anything on the planet all over the universe. There are resources, minerals all over the universe. There's planets that are the size of a diamond. There are planets that have just gold in them, silver, anything you could possibly imagine, it's out there. Once we figure out how to mine and travel through space, there will be no shortage of critical rare earth minerals. We'll have everything that you possibly could imagine. But right now, God gives us a finite ability, enough for us to become sustainers of life, enough for us to create abundance, enough for us, hopefully, to create a world where we care for one another and not fight with one another. And if we do that, the stars are all ours. Abraham's deep desire to do chesed comes from this place of, I want to be like God. Not because empathy. God's not doing because he feels sorry for us. God's not doing chesed because of empathy. God's doing chesed because he is the core essence of what chesed is. And this is the level that Avraham reaches over here. He's not doing the chesed because, 3 angels need his food. The irony is that they don't get any benefit from the food and the drinking and the levaya. This is all like irrelevant to them. But when you get to a place in your life where you are living your belief, not motivated by the emotion, not by the need to do, but because it's the right thing to do in that moment. I want to care because I want to be godly. It's in that aspect of Avraham that his descendants merit these miracles. This is how you transform reality. Of course, it's good to have a feeling to give something to someone. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel, but be mindful there's a higher level where you're able to give for the sake of giving and wanting nothing. That's what chesed is. Chesed is not tzedakah. Tzedakah is the tzedek tirdof. We're supposed to run after justice. That's not our reality. That is a reality. It's not the reality. That's not the highest level of reality. The highest level of charity is when you've done your justice and you want to do more. Chesed knows no boundary. And this is what Avraham achieves very early on in the parsha, and this is what we need today in our world. We live in a time where it's so easy to get frightened, and that's not what we should be doing right now. I say this and I say it always, I'll say it over again. The 2 things that we're supposed to be working on before the Messianic era is Talmud Torah and Gemilut Chasadim. Learning Torah, the word Torah comes from Hora'ah. It is an instruction manual for greatness. Learn Torah, not just to read it, but read it so you could implement it. And then Gemilut Chesed is actually the application of the Torah itself. Apply it. Go out, do good, be good, feel good, become great. Don't allow yourself to remain stagnant. Stagnation is another form of expiration. I want to wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. May we be blessed with the clarity and knowledge that us trying to do good and us just wanting to attempt to do the good, not only will God create the reality for us, he'll give us those special miracles for me, you, and our future descendants as well. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for listening.